Good evening, Harold.
Hello, hello. Have you been?
Baruch Hashem, all good.
Good, good. I just saw someone sent me there's a Pesach program in Guatemala on the Pacific coast.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We were famous yesterday. They were also advertising that there's a elephant in Guatemala zoo that is
Is
65 years old.
oh my gosh. It's we're gonna retire now? Go on Medicare?
Poor elephant.
Is only one? There's no mate?
I'm sure that they have a mate. I
Oh,
haven't been in that zoo since I was a little kid.
oh wow.
So I probably saw him when he was a young.
Yeah, a young elephant. You should go and see if he remembers you. You know, they have good memories. Elephant never
They
forgets.
have elephant memories.
You'll test the theory.
Okay. All good. All
Yeah.
good.
Let's see, where are we here? Oh, there's Mario.
Hello.
Hey, Mario.
Story before.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
This is interesting stuff. Does anyone here also ever watch Rabbi Stefanski?
I do.
I have to tell you, he had excellent visuals for us.
That's why I like. Yeah, yeah.
His visual today on the tefillin and the way that this is created
Oh, I
out
didn't
of
see that. I have to take a look
it's
at.
fascinating. You know that the tefillin are
Yeah.
usually made only from the skin of the cow that involves the head.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's all in one process. It takes 4 months for them to stretch the skin
Oh,
to
wow.
give it the shape of a
Of the
tefillin
box.
for the
Really?
shorosh.
Wow.
It was really,
Not aware of that.
he took visuals for each stage,
Uh-huh.
and you see it's a very uh, slow process that's been the same
Mario,
process for three
Yes.
thousand years.
That's what
switch
it's so
it off.
expensive.
I'll tell you to switch it on. Otherwise, you have to wait when you
Why?
people.
He's
Because I
explain
with
he's
there was
explaining about the manufacturing of film.
Tefillin.
We are on Lamed Dalad,
Yeah.
34. Abai Rav Avdi Karabav Rav Yosef. Abai Rav did the mezuzah. That means they said that a doorway going to a garden is potter from a mezuzah. Ravashi Ovid Karavush Lechumra, they said that you need a lechumra. No matter where the Hekert seer is, whether it's on the house side, whether it's on the garden side. Itmar. Lul Pasuch Min Abayis Laliyah. There's a stairway going from the first floor to a second floor, and on the second floor, there's like a landing. So, on Ravunim Yeshlo Pesach Echad Chayv Mezuzah Achas. If it has one entrance, either to the upstairs only or to the down, then it requires one mezuzah. Yeshlo Shnei Pesachim. This is like our duplexes, where sometimes they had like a stairway going up where the people living on the first floor had no access to it. If it has two doors, it needs two mezuzahs. On Rav Papa Shmamin at Rav Huna, from this halacha, high indruna, the Islay Arba Babi, was also a large room that had four different entrances, chai, barba mezuzahs. You have to put a mezuzah in each one. So the Gemara says, Pshita, why would we not think? Let's say the normal usage was through one of the doors. But since you could come in through any of the door, they all get a mezuzah. Abra Meimar. Hai Pischa da Karna, you have a door that's at a corner of a house. Chai b'mezuzah. Now, the Havamina we'll see was that there weren't two doorposts there. So Amarle Rav Ashi Lamemer Vahalesle Ptsimin. Why should have a Megillah? Why should have a mezuzah? There's no doorpost. Amarle Adei Ptsimi. There were. You didn't understand. There were. If it didn't have doorposts, like we learned yesterday, it wouldn't require mezuzah. Rav Papa Iklebe Mar Shmuel. Rav Papa visited Mar Shmuel. Chazahu Pischud Lavale Elapatzim Echad Mismolo. Again, there was a opening to a room, to a house, where there was a doorpost on the left side, but none on the right. On the right, it's just a wall, and a wall ended there without a doorpost. Vavidele mezuzah. He put the mezuzah on the left side. Now, normally you're supposed to put the mezuzah on the right side when you come into a house. Amar lei keman Rab Meir. Are you doing this like Rab Meir, who held that even if a doorpost only had one, even if a doorway only had one doorpost, it's chayv mezuzah? But that's so only Eimedam Rab Meir miyamin. He said if there's a right doorpost, then it means a mezuzah, mismol miyamar. But he never said that if it was only a left doorpost, that it would require mezuzah. Where do we see that the right side on the way in to a location, that's where you're supposed to put the mezuzah? It's Tanya. Beisecha, right? Uchsavsam amazuzos beisecha visharecha. Biyoscha min hayamin. As you come in, and you put it on the right side. Talmud lomer beisecha. Where do you see me beisecha that it means right? Ma talmuda. Amar Rabba derech biyoscha min hayamin. When a person is in a standing position and he takes a step forward, usually devei akar inish kari dimina akar beresha. He lifts his right foot first. I remember my son's wedding, Yaakov Chasam, there's always a minig. You tell a Chasam to go with the right foot. Go first with your right foot. I think I heard that from my mother. They would give you these kind of brachas. So you see, in general, Chazal understood that when you walked with your right foot first. Rosh Shmuel Baracha Kamed Rav Papa Mishmei Rav Bar Ula Amar Mehacha. Another source. We have this in Malachim, Beis. Vayikach Yehoyada Kohen Aron Echad Vayikov Chor B'Dalto. We just had this Haftorah, Parshat Shkolim, that they had to remodel the Beis Hamikdash. They needed money, so they put a box, they put a hole in the box, and people, when they would come, they would put their machzis shekel there. You notice they did it to the right of the Mizbeach. And you would enter, from the eastern side of the Azara, going straight, and therefore would be on your right. So entering is always on the right. Now, the Gemara had a Havamina that it's Rav Meir who holds that you can put a mezuzah even if there's only one doorpost. My Rav Meir, where do we see this? The Tanya. Baya she'ein lo ela patzim echad. A house that has a doorway with only one side post. Rav Meir mechayv mezuzah. The Chachamim poitrin. My time Rabbana. It says mezuzos ksiv, which you have to put it on the doorposts, plural. So one doorpost is not plural. My time Rav Meir, the Tanya, mezuzos. Shomeani miut mezuzos shtayim. Mezuzos, which is a plural word, the minimum amount would be 2. But in Vahayam Shamo, it says, repeats mezuzot. Kishomer mezuzos, but parsha shniya shein Talmud lomer. What do we need it for? Havi ribuy acha ribuy. Vein ribuy acha ribuy elamai. So it comes to subtract. Miato akosov l'muzah achas de Rav Yishmael. The initial mezuzos was that 2, because that's plural. But since it's riba acha riba, we subtract 1, you only have 1. Rabbi Kiva learns the same But he learns it a different way. Rabbi Kiva Omer ein tzorich. Kishomer ala mashkol al shtem mezuzos. It says by the Pesach, when you put the blood on your doorpost so that Hashem would skip over your house, it's you put it on the mashkov, which is the lintel, which is the board below, right? The ticker is the board above, the lintel is the low below. So you place it on the lintel and on the two doorposts. Now, it says mezuzos. That's already plural. Minimum plural is two. What do you need shtei for? Shein tamid lomer shtei. So ma tamid lomer shtei. Zeh bana'av. Kol makom shenera mezuzos eino ela achas. Ad sheyipor lecha kosuv shtayim. Here, by Pesach, it told you had to put it on two doorposts. But everywhere else, there's only one. That's where Reb Meir gets it, from both Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Kiva. Torah Rabbanan. U'savtama mezuzos Pesach v'yisharecha. Yachol yikisven alavonim. Let's say, you might think that you have to write it on the doorpost itself. Where do we get this halach that you have to write it on a parchment and clap it in there? Nemer kan ksiva v'nemer lan ksiva. We use a hekesh to ksiva v'chosav lo sefer krisus, where you write a bill of divorce. Malahalan ala sefer. Over there, we know that the divorce has to be written on a parchment. Afkan ala sefer. Oh, klach l'derech zu. Maybe I could tell you we could learn a different way. Nemer kan ksiva v'nemer lan ksiva. Before Klal Yisrael entered Eretz Canaan, they were told to write the whole Sefer Torah on stones. By the way, some people learned that those stones were like the mezuzah of Eretz Yisrael. So they wrote, instead of writing just two parshas, they wrote the whole Torah. Now there, the ksiva is on stones. Malahon alavonim, avkon alavonim. So I might think that the parshas of the mezuzah should be written directly on the doorpost, even if it's stone. So near lemi doimet. So the hekesh could be learned to both places. Where is it more similar? Danin ksiva noeges l'doros, miksiva noeges l'doros. Mezuzah is a din, is a halach that applies forever. The writing of the Sefer Torah on those avonim is only for that generation when they went into Eretz Canaan. So we're going to do a hekesh. And also writing a get is something that's noeg l'doros. So we're going to learn a hekesh between mezuzah and get, which is noeg l'doros, ve'ein danin ksiva noeges l'doros, miksiva she'ein noeges l'doros. We're not going to learn a hekesh from writing the Sefer Torah on the avonim, which was not for generations. And it's like K'mo shenemer lahalan in Sefer Yirmiyah. Vayomer lehem Baruch ben Ner was the Talmud of Yirmiyah. Vayomer lehem Baruch mipiv yikra elai as kol elav ani kosev ala sefer b'dyo. Yirmiyah would dictate various things that he wanted Baruch to write, and they would write it down with ink on parchment. Ravashi. Rachmana Omer al mezuzos. The Pashut Pshat of the Torah, write it on the doorpost. And you come up, the Atamar Deliv Ksiva Ksiva. Why should I leave the Pashut Pshat of the Pasuk and learn it of this drasha of Uchsavta? Amrakra Uchsavtam Ksiva Tamo. It has to be a pure, complete writing. You can't do that. That's only mashma on a scroll. Because you can't, you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls. They put it in these jugs and it lasted for 2,000 years. Writing on the wall is not going to last. Ksiva Tama, v'hadar ala mezuzos. And then you write a Ksiva Tama on parchment, that should be hung on the doorpost. U'me'achad dichsiv uchsaftam, hai gzer shava lamali. Then what do I need the gzer shava? Uchsaftam leget. Ilav gzer shava vina lichte avona v'lik b'seifa. I might have thought you write it on a stone, and then you attach the stone to the doorpost. Kamash v'lon, that no, you have to write it on a scroll specifically and then put it on the doorpost. Okay. So ends our sojourn through mitzvahs mezuzah. Now we're going to start mitzvahs tefillin. Arba parshas shabbat tefillin makvazuetzu. You have 4 parshios. You have Kadesh li kol b'chor v'ayak kiviyacha. You have Shema and Vayam Shamoah. Those are the 4 parshios. You need all of them. Afilu ksav echad me'akvan, even one letter. If it's not written properly, it puzzles the tefillin. That's why you have to check your tefillin periodically. So pshita, we've already learned, but in all Sifrei Kodesh that even one letter will puzzle. Even if that little shtick on top of the yud, that little tag, is missing, that's the chiddush. Vanami pshita, that we've learned before as well, when we learned about the tagim. The chiddush is for Rav Yehuda, Rav Yehuda Rav. Kol osha ein gvil mukaf l'ma'aber v'choseha. Every letter needs parchment around it. That means one letter cannot be touching another letter. Otherwise, psula. That's the halacha. Lamed dal lamed beis. Ton rabbanon. It says in 3 different places, l'totafot, l'totafot, l'totafot. Now, only one of those totafots have a vav in it. Tav, pei, vav, tav. The other ones are choser. So the totafot mole represents 2, and each other totafot without the vav represents 1. Hare kan arba. So you need 4 batim. Those are compartments that the various parshas are put into. Div Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Kiva Omer netzarich. We don't need to go through this totafot business. He says, tat bekatvi, the word tat by the Caspian Sea, that's what katfi refers to. The word tat means 2. And pat, ba'afriki, one of the African language, the word pat is shtaim. So totafot, tat pat is 4. Torah Rabbanon. Yachol yichtevem al arba oiros. So I might think you could write the 4 parshios on 4 different hides. V'yanichem ba'arba batim. And each one of these parshios would be put in its own compartment, which each compartment would be made by 4 different hides, right? Ba'arba oiros. Talmud loymar ulazikaron beininecha. It doesn't say zichronot. You make the 4, you take one hide and you mold out 4 compartments from one hide. Zikaron echad amarti lecha, v'lo shnayim u'shlosha zichronos. HaKetzad, kois v'nal ba'ak oiros. Each parsha is written on its own parchment. Umenichin ba'arba batim bo'or echad. And one hide, if you open up your tefillin, you'll see that. It's made out of one hide, but it's got 4, they fold it over, so it's 4. And each parchment is put into its own bias. Let's say you didn't write the 4 parshios on 4 different hides, you wrote it all on one hide. And you stuffed it in there, v'nichin ba'arba batim. And you put it in the 4 batim. Because you could have spaces in between when you write. Let's say you wrote it on one. The way the Rishonim learned, you wrote it on one, but you had space. So you'd stick one in, and then the other one, the space would be where where there's no compartment. Then the other one would fit into the compartment. I might think if you yotza, the din is your yotze. V'tzarech shi'ei revach b'nein. Then you'd have to have a space between the various parts. Divrei Rebbe. V'chachamim oimrim no, einot tzarech. V'shavin shenoisen chut o meshicha ben kolachas v'yachas. There has to be a string between each of those batim, according to everybody. Now, then, if you take a look at your tefillin, especially tefillin sharos, there are grooves, right? V'mein chritzin nicker psulos. You have to be able to identify, because the grooves define the four batim. You have to be able to see that from the outside. Otherwise, it's possible. Torah Rabbah. Kate said, Koisven, Tefillah shel yad koisva alor echad. The four parshios of the Tefillin shel yad are written on one parchment. Vim kasva bar boiros fanicha b'vayis echad yotza. If you wrote them on four different ones, and you put in one bias, you're also yotze. But the tzarech l'dabek, you glue them together, or you sew them. The four parchments have to be sewn together if you did it in four parshios. Shenemar vayalacha le'os al yadecha. Right? It's a single sign. Kishem she'os achas mechutz. Right? The tefillin shel yad is one box. It's not divided into four. So that the siman outside is one. Kach ois achas mevifnim. The parshios have to be either because you wrote it on one parsha, or if you wrote it on multiple parshas, you stuck them together or sewed them together. Rabbi Yossi Amar Einot Tzarech. Rabbi Yossi says you don't have to glue them together. Rabbi Yossi, umoyli Rabbi Yehuda beRebbi sheim ein lo tefillin shel yad. Let's say he doesn't have his tefillin shel yad. V'yesh lo shtei tefillin shel rosh. He has two head tefillins. Shetola or alachas mehen. So you take a piece of hide, you cover up one of those rosh tefillins. So now it looks like you have one bias, because the problem with the rosh tefillins is it has the grooves, which shows four batim. You can't have four batim. It has to be ois achas vayalacha laos al yadecha. So by covering one of the head tefillins that you have with one hide, it makes it look like a single bias umenich, and you could put it on your arm. So the Gemara says, how can Rabbi Yossi say that Rabbi Yehuda was moida? I know pluktayu. They have a machlokes, because Rabbi Yehuda says that you cannot use tefillin shel yad that has four parshios. Amar Rava midvar Rabbi Yossi chazer Rabbi Yehuda. So after Rabbi Yehuda heard Rabbi Yossi, he went back on his opinion that you have to glue the four parshios together. You don't have to. Now, how the Gemara is going to attack this notion that Rabbi Yossi said that if you don't have tefillin shel yad, you can use one of your tefillin shel rosh. Eini. V'shalach Rav Chananya Mishred Rav Yechlan tefillin shel yad oisen oiser shel rosh. There's a concept of ein malin b'kedusha ve'ein moiridin b'kedusha. You only can go up in holiness, in sanctity. You can't go down. And the Gemara is going to understand that the tefillin shel rosh are holier. So you can turn a tefillin shel yad into a tefillin shel rosh, because malin b'kodesh, right? But the shel rosh ein oisnos shel yad. Lefi shein moiridin mikdusha chamor lekdusha kala. The tefillin shel rosh is holier. First of all,
So how do you make the four compartments?
no, you have four compartments. Yes, so we said, remember Rabbi Yossi says, Eino tzarech. Rabbi Yehuda said that for the tefillin shel yad, even if you made it initially, Rabbi Yehuda said you have to make it on one parchment, but if you made it on four, you have to glue them together. And Rabbi Yehuda said you don't have to glue them together. You could be separate, so that's not a problem then to take the tefillin shel rosh and make it a tefillin shel yad, because it could be four separate parchments. That's how we learned tonight. Rashi says sherubo shel shakai naseh b'shel rosh, right? There's a shin already on our tefillin shel rosh. Then in the back of our straps, we make a dalet. Take a look back there. It's in the shape of a dalet. And then we have a yud hanging near our tefillin shel yad, which spells out the name of Hashem. Shin dalet yud. Shakai. So two of the letters that make up the name of Hashem is in the head tefillin. So that's what Rashi says. Ruba shel shakai nasa b'shel rosh, shin dalet b'shel zroa en el yud. Then it says, we had another Gemara that says, V'ra'u kol amei haaretz, V'ra'u kol amei haaretz, ki shem Hashem nikra alecha. The people of the world will see the name of Hashem is on you, and they will fear you. And the Gemara, Daf 35b, will say, Evar Masechta, Elu tefillin shel rosh. So the tefillin shel rosh represents that we are God's people. These are the two reasons why the tefillin shel rosh is considered holier than the tefillin shel yad.
Only, but we also know that when you make the brocha, you say on the yad la'niach. On the rosh, you actually say al mitzvah. So that it seems like the rosh is the much higher level.
No, that's a different. No, that's not a level. That's not the difference with kedusha. For example, we say lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. So versus al netilas lulav. Right? So there are different reasons why you say, so the lahaniach tefillin is like lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. They're both languages of bracha that can be said before performing a mitzvah. Why we say laniach shel tefillin, why we use that bracha for the yad, that's a different limud. It's not related to the kedusha kamor.
Yeah.
Because both are used in different mitzvahs. Sometimes we do al netilas lulav, al mitzvahs tefillin, or whatever. And sometimes we do lahadlik ner shel yontif, lahadlik ner shel Chanukah, lehaniach tefillin.
Yeah, but we also learned from our Kodesh Baruch Hu that he also wears tefillin, and he saw, and Moshe Rabbeinu only saw the back, the dalet.
Oh, so that's a nice raya, because that would only be tefillin shel rosh.
Rosh, right? Because
Yeah, but it's not a. Yeah, but Walter doesn't. We can't learn from there that he wasn't wearing tefillin shel yad.
No, I'm not saying, but it just shows you the chashivas of
Hashivas, because Moshe saw the tefillin.
now we're learning that the people will have they'll be afraid of us. The whole thing. What do you mean they'll be afraid of us when they see there's a whole mahalach over here? I heard a shir.
V'ra'u kol amei haaretz ki shem Hashem nikra lecha.
Right.
Name of Hashem is there, so they're fearful of us. They went out of battle wearing tefillin.
But we don't wear tefillin.
Other people say the most important part of the body is our brain.
Right.
So it's placed on the rosh, which is the most important name.
It's the machshava that we get to our Kodesh Baruch Hu through that machshava, the machshavas.
It's the most chashav aver. So how could Rabbi Yossi say we can take our hand tefillin and use it as a head tefillin? It's moiriden b'kodesh. Loika shehaba atikta. If it's an old pair of tefillin, even if it's used once, then you can never use it for armed tefillin, because now it has extra sanctity. Ha b'chadata. But new tefillin, has never been used, so it doesn't have the extra sanctity yet. So if you happen to have a pair of tefillin like that, you could use the head one for your yad. Ulamanda Omer Hazmanim Milsihi. There's a whole debate in Shas that when you designate something, does that have halachic significance or no? Designation is not milsa. It's only when you actually use something that it. So, for example, by tachrichin, right? If you designate a garment as tachrichin, is that enough? Because then you're not allowed to use those begodim bahano anymore. Or it has to be used for the dead body, and then it has the din of no hano. Is hazmana milsi, hazmana lav milsi? Well, according to the mandor hazmana milsi, then even if it's new, but once it's been designated as head tefillin, it's got more sanctity. So the asni alai meikara, when Rabbi Yossi says you're allowed to use it a head tefillin for yad, you had made it t'nai originally when you first made it, that if I needed this head tefillin to be yad tefillin, I could do it. So you'd have to make it t'nai. Okay. Now comes the famous machlokes between Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. Many of us see people after Shmona Esrei, they take off their regular tefillin and they put on another pair of tefillin, Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. So what's the machlokes between Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam? Ton Rabbanan. Keitzad Sidron. What's the order? Kadesh Li. That means the Gemara is going to say that the order of the four parchments is the order that they're written in the Torah. So the Kadesh Li Bechor is in Parshas Bo. V'Hayaki V'Yacha is also in Parshas Bo after the Kadesh Li. And that's placed Biyamin. If we're looking at the head tefillin, so it's Kadesh and then V'Hayaki V'Yacha in that bat. Then Shema is in Ves Chanon, and Vayayim Shemoah is in Parshas Ekev. You continue, you have Shema and Vayayim Shemoah. It's all according to the biblical order. I V'Hatanya Ipcha. There's a brisa that says just the opposite. Rabbi Loi Kasher. Kan Mimina Shul Korei. Kan Mimina Shul Maniach. Is it the person, is it from his vantage point or the person looking at him? Va'akore korei kesidra. The person reading reads according to the order of the Torah. So Rashi learns that the order is Kadesh, Vayakiv Yacha, Shema, Vayam Shemoah. According to Rabbeinu Tam, it's Kadesh, Vayakiv Yacha, and then Vayam Shemoah, and then Shema. That's the difference between Rabbeinu Tam and Rashi Tefillin. The order of the parshos, according to Rabbeinu Tam, is different than Rashi. Amar Rav Chanan and Amar Rav Hechlif parshos psulos. That if the order is changed, it's puzzle. Now you understand why some people are makpid to wear both, Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. Because if the order is really like Rabbeinu Tam, then the people wearing Rashi Tefillin, it's puzzle, because it's not the Kesedra. So they wear both misafek. However, Amar Abaya lo amoron elagavi celebrat. We'll learn that tomorrow.
Let me ask you, Ernie, how come all the halachas of mezuzah and tefillin and everything we're learning in Menachos?
So that's why I pointed out we had the last Mishnah.
Right.
Let's remind ourselves. Let's remind ourselves.
The
Mishnah on Kav Ches.
Yeah.
Shiva Knei Menorah Ma'akvin Zed Zeh. Remember, we were talking about the various avodot
right.
of the mincha are ma'akev each other. If you didn't do the kmitza, right? So it led us to the menorah, and then it said Shtei Parshos Mezuzah Ma'akvat Zu et Zu, and then it talked about tefillin, and then tzitzis. That's why these sukkahs appear here Menachos, because it's the commentary of that Mishnah. It's the Mishnah.
No, it's just going on the Mishnah. So
Going on that Mishnah. We're elaborating all of this.
it's not because we really like doing you put mezuzah, you put talash, you put tefillin, you put tzitzit, you put all these things. Is that a sacrifice? It's not a sacrifice. It's
based on that Mishnah. And it led from Kmitza. We talked about all the things that are ma'akev the mincha. If you didn't do the Kmitza, but you did the Levona, it's also not good. Then the Tanoim of the Mishnah included all these other mitzvahs. Menorah, you needed 7 candles, candelabra. We went through all of that with menorah as well.
Yeah.
And all the dinim of the Sefer Torah is here.
Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow night.
Yeah. Tomorrow, the daf is at 7, and then we're doing the tzorba at 8.
On Monday.
Wow.
On Monday night instead of Wednesday.
Until Tuesday.
I'm sorry, instead of Tuesday, and because Yaakov Yellen has some other shiur, so he asked us to do it Monday night.
And there's a shiur at my house from Rabbi Kirshner. Everybody's invited for Rosh Chodesh.
What time is that Tuesday night, Walter?
8:00.
8:00. Okay, very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Tomorrow, 7. and
Tomorrow
8.
7 daf and 8:00 Mario. If you could put in the
Yeah.
tzorba.
Turbo.
Okay,
Okay.
Shkoyach Ernie.
Shkoyach, very good.